What is up, everybody? Thank you guys for joining us. We have an instant reaction to Texas A&M beating Auburn 16-10. Look, David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback, my brother, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver. I want to start with this. I was one of the main guys that thought that Hugh Freeze was right for this job. When you look at the track record, when you look at what he's done, I do want to come out and say right now, there's a lot that goes into firing somebody. When you look on the recruiting front, you look on, the development front of who you have. And, obviously we're still not even to the halfway point of the season. It's just gotten to the point, and Blaine, I want to start with you. Offensively, Hugh Freeze was supposed to be a quarterback guru. He screwed up with Peyton Thorne twice. He brought in another rescue that didn't work. This Auburn offense it's a joke. It's a joke. Well, from a play calling standpoint, from an execution standpoint, from a penalties against standpoint, what is Hugh Freeze bringing to Auburn right now? What is the benefit of having a guy that seems to be over the hill as a play caller, over the hill as a disciplinarian? And you got to give credit to A&M, obviously, but I think even A&M fans will tell you they didn't play great tonight. Auburn's just so bad offensively. You just don't want to screw it up on offense. What does Hugh Freeze bring to Auburn? What's the benefit of having him?
Well, I mean, maybe a good golf swing. The swing looked pretty nice. I'm not going to lie about that. But you have to look, no matter how much you like somebody, at the end of the day, you either do your job or you don't do your job. And right now we're sitting in year 3 of Hugh Freeze after bringing back Peyton Thorne for another year after that disaster. And you're seeing what you're seeing with Jackson Arnold, and it's nothing new, from what you've heard from this show. Baylor tricked a lot of people because they sat in too high the entire game, and Baylor's really not that good on defense. Before this game, when we previewed it during the week, and I said, look, when it came down to it, do you trust Auburn if they had one drive on the line to go and get it done? And again, they don't do that. Auburn shouldn't have been in this game really anyways. You have to give kudos to Auburn's defense because they played phenomenal. All right.
Oh, for sure.
Auburn's offense didn't score a touchdown in this game. Auburn's defense picked it off. He got tackled at the 2-yard line. And it's one thing not to have the talent, right? But Auburn does. There's no excuse with having guys like Eric Singleton Jr. and Cam Coleman at receiver to go on the road and put up a performance like this. So, look, and I've said this before. It's just at what point – the quarterbacks have been awful at Auburn. The offense has looked terrible at Auburn. And when you're having a defense show up like the way the Auburn defense does, it's not going to get any easier for Hugh Freeze going through this year, even if you look at Auburn's schedule.
David, you played quarterback at a high level. You understand how offense is supposed to work. We talked about A&M's struggles against the run, and Hugh Freeze and Derek Nix and this offensive staff doesn't even test them.
Mm-hmm.
Like you never even knew. The lack of adjustments as well. I think probably Mike Elco is surprised as anybody that Auburn didn't adjust at all. Just when you watch it from an outside perspective, it's a tough watch, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hard to watch Auburn play offense. And Hugh Freeze, man, if you're sick, resign. If you're sick, resign. If you can't do it, resign. You're not doing a justice to the Auburn players. You brought in another bad quarterback. Can we be honest at this point and say this is about the time where Oklahoma benched Jackson Arnold last year, and you watch him again and he's holding the ball. You don't even try and run it to get some sort of balance. It's at this point, what needs to be done? If you're the Auburn athletic director, what needs to be done?
Yeah, I think you said something right there. It's tough to watch. That's what I notice anyway, and my heart goes out to the Auburn defense. Anytime you have such an imbalance with a unit on a team, I know how frustrating that can be. And Jackson Arnold is not playing good football right now, but from my standpoint, this goes so much farther than just a quarterback issue. And this is just some of the notes that I took here from the Texas A&M game today. You start a drive in plus territory, can't get anything going. You get a drive in in the red zone, you still get forced to a field goal attempt. I mean, even the defense gave you a chance with a 74-yard interception return, and somehow in the fourth quarter you have -2 yards in the final quarter going into that last drive. I mean, that's just not good enough. Even the cat and mouse game, when you get one-on-one with Cam Coleman on the outside and you go to check, Texas A&M checks because they're baiting you into that audible. So it's just like, it's holistically right now, nothing is working. I mean, you either have an offensive line that's giving up a sack, or when they hold up, Jackson Arnold holds the football too long, or there's a false start, or there's a holding call, or there's a drop pass, or there's a special teams mistake. It's like every single play, there's something going against this Auburn team.
Yeah, and again, I'll keep saying it. Winners win, losers lose. And with Hugh Freeze at Auburn, it's like you have and I'm not even talking about the players specifically, the coaching staff outside of the defense, because the special teams was average once again. I mean, we can talk about a couple things. It just seems like you've got a bunch of guys on an offensive staff, and it ends with you that can't put a game plan together that works, and then can't adjust and make it work. I'm trying to see a future for Hugh Freeze here, because now you're 3-2, you get a bye week, you have a dud at quarterback. Let's just be honest. You have a running back at quarterback that can throw it okay. And then you get Georgia coming off a bye week. Blaine, does Hugh Freeze, if he loses to Georgia, is he going to get fired? And if I'm DJ Durkin, you can say what you want. Like, we're all in it to make the best of ourselves. At what point am I looking at that interim head coach job? And we can talk about recruiting and this, that, or the other, but Hugh Freeze can't do anything with the recruits on offense. And you can't be a bad talent evaluator and a bad play caller and a bad practice structurer and get away with this. Like, well, does Auburn have to beat Georgia?
I mean, at this point, you're not affording any more losses. I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to what's his buyout, right? When it comes down to any of these coaches, I mean, what is it, $20 million for his buyout? I'm sure there's language in there. Obviously, we have to look at, but it just goes back to, and at the end of the day, I sat up here and said, and I caught a lot of hell for it. We signed a guy that got benched by his fourth game, and everybody wanted injuries, and that plays into it for sure. But you can watch Jackson Arnold and know he's not the guy. I didn't even have to see Jackson Arnold play and know that Hughes right now, his evaluation when it comes to quarterbacks is terrible. He signed Peyton Thorne for another year after watching that season, right? So it's not a lot of just absolute insane questions, but it's not only that. I saw lack of effort up front on the offensive line, procedural penalties again. How many times did Auburn start in 1st and 15 throughout this drive? You can't live like that. It's the same mistakes after the same mistakes after the same mistakes. Look, you can piss on my head and tell me it's raining, but sooner or later I'm going to have to look up and figure it out. And Hugh Freeze hasn't done that. And trust me, if there's ever a fan base and a place that's not going to wait for a coach to figure it out, especially in year 3, this is his guys. There's one guy left, from the Brian Harsin or the Gus Malzahn days. That's all over with. This is supposed to be the year. He has the worst win percentage in one-possession games. And at the end of the day, if you're an Auburn fan, it's not good enough. It hasn't been good enough. We knew that. And look, Jackson Arnold could be a great guy, and that's awesome. But I said when they signed him, I would rather play Deuce Knight. I'd rather get Deuce Knight out there, because if you're Hugh Freeze, you can't wait another year for Jackson Arnold to figure it out. Buddy, this is it. Yeah. This is it. But on the other note, I've already talked about Auburn too much. All right, Texas A&M. Texas A&M used to lose games like this.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Right? They used to lose games like this. And they found a way, and they didn't play great. And I'm sure Mike Elco will say the same thing, especially from the penalty standpoint and that turnover. But they found a way to win. And Texas A&M, maybe it's playing Auburn. Maybe that's the Saturday where your defense can get it figured out. Because Texas was ranked 80th in scoring, almost giving up 400 yards per game. So they haven't been fantastic, but they found a way to win a big game at home. Kudos to Marcel Reed, and kudos to Mike Elco, and kudos to that defensive line and that front seven at Texas A&M, because I thought they showed up and showed out.
No, without a doubt. And I want to make sure in this video that A&M is getting the credit, especially defensively, that they deserve. It's not your fault Auburn's stupid. Like, you just have to play with what you're given. And, If you see somebody that is making mistakes and somebody that is not well coached offensively, I mean, why even take the risk? I mean, even the interception, I thought was a great play call from Colin Klein. The guy just dropped the ball. It's a very safe play,
Marcel.
typically at the end of the day. But, with this A&M team, people have been talking, the offense isn't super efficient, but finding ways to win, to Blaine's point, David, that's been the difference in this year's team as opposed to last year's team. And it's nice to have a group of winners. That's the thing. Guys that understand how to win. You can put all the pregame videos out. You can talk about how, you walked this old lady across the street. That's great. But if you don't win football games, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But A&M's found a way to do both, and I think that's the Mike Elco effect.
Well, Billy Lucci at Texags told us in the offseason, if A&M finds a way to go on the road and beat Notre Dame and then beat Auburn at home and they start 4-0, I'm going to have to keep you guys from drinking the Texas A&M Kool-Aid. Well, I don't know if I'm drinking any Kool-Aid just yet, but there is a lot to like about this team, particularly with the way that Marcel Reed has come into his own and the way he's delivering the football through the air, from the pocket, and on the run with these playmakers on the outside, the way that like you said, they go and get victories at the end of games. There's a lot to like about that team. I think they're going to be in the hunt for SEC championship berth, possibly. Remember, it came down to that Texas game a year ago, and they were just on the outside looking in. One more thing on the Auburn side here. I know there's a lot of frustration right now, and I'm not trying to be optimistic just for the sake of positivity, but there is something that stands out here to me, which is you lost your last two football games in your two toughest road tests of the year. Remember, they got these early, and you lost by a combined, 17 points, or 13 points, actually, 13 points. You do get Georgia at home. You do get Alabama at home. You get some of these you get Kentucky at home. You got to play Vanderbilt on the road, but look, you weren't going to beat them anyway because no one in the world can beat Diego Pavia, apparently. So I just wonder, on the Auburn side, how much quit does this team have in them, or how much perseverance does this team have in them?
Well, look, I think on the defensive side, obviously they understand who they are. But David, the problem with Auburn is it's the same problem. Like and I haven't even been to a practice, but I can tell you whatever they're doing is not working. And it's embarrassing. The product that Hugh Freeze puts out on the field at Auburn is embarrassing. And I thought it couldn't get worse after Brian Harsin. But at the end of the day, I don't care if you're on the at home or you're on the road. It's bad coaching. Like, I don't know I'm trying to think of a very articulate way to say it other than you guys suck at your jobs. Like, you're getting paid. I mean, what's Derek Nix getting paid? Hugh Freeze is making millions of dollars to be bad. Like, it's just, if I'm John Cohen, regardless, I need to take the Harbaugh route. I need to take the Venables route. I need some of that money we're giving you back because you're not good enough to coach this team up offensively. And again, Hugh Freeze is a friend of mine, but just like I text him, and I'll tell you exactly what I text him. I said, man, I love you, but I can't defend this offense anymore. I'm going to lose all my credibility. That's the truth. It's embarrassing. I can't sit back like these Auburn accounts and say everything's going to be okay or this is optimistic and this is not. Bro, it's a disaster on offense. You look like a dumbass. Like, I hate to be that way, but it's people are laughing at you on offense. How many rescues? And listen, we have 4 dogs. 2 of them are rescues. One of them's great. The other one, we're working on it. Like, you can only bring in so many rescues and expect them to be the best ever. Like, you kept Peyton Thorne for another year. Idiot. You bring in Jackson Arnold, who's a defunct product, and you thought you could restring him and rewire him, and it will work. And I turn on the TV in the first drive, boy's sitting there doesn't even know what he's looking at. Doesn't even know what he's looking at. But, I mean, David, I get what you're saying. I appreciate what you're trying to say. But it's Auburn right now is Iowa from the past. That's what they are. You just hope to God the defense can get a turnover. But with this Hugh Freeze offense, it's embarrassing. And you should give some of the money back. You should give it back. You don't deserve it. You haven't earned it. You should give some of the money back. Maybe it goes to NIL. You need to fire your offensive coordinator. You need to stop calling offensive plays. You need to bring in somebody else and do the Tommy Tuberville route because, dude, and Blaine, you're sitting in my living room watching it. You got clowned again.
Well,
you got clowned in the same way again, which makes you a clown.
Well, it's not like embarrassing for sure, but it's not surprising.
But that's even worse, though.
Yeah, I know. Because, if you're surprised by this, then, I mean, I don't know what else to do to try and help you. Like, look, if you thought Jackson Arnold was going to come in and just save the world at Auburn, I mean, there's some beachfront property I'd love to sell you in Kansas.
But the proposition was that he was buying the stock at its lowest point, and could he be a good enough facilitator of the ball to these awesome wide receivers you brought in and run the football? And then they rush for 300 yards against Baylor, and it's like, well, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think this Baylor's defense is just terrible.
No, I get it. I get it.
I agree with you, David.
I get it. But
finish my sentence. It's like, look, you didn't need Jackson Arnold to come in and save the world because you're going to rely on these receivers.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to rely on an experienced offensive line, which Auburn has this year. But it turns out, well, one, they're going to bracket Cam Coleman. We almost did every single play in this game.
Yeah.
Eric Singleton did
shockingly.
Something. Your offensive line is not that good.
Yeah, Jake Thornton needs to be fired.
They might be.
He needs to be fired tonight.
They might be experienced, but they're just not that good. And you keep 65 in there. Have you say you're going to pull in the first half? If he does it again, he makes 3 more mistakes. One of those being a holding, another being of another false start, and he blows a block at the end. So at the end of the day, this isn't a surprising thing to me. I mean, especially once you play more games, teams are going to learn how to scheme against you. Mm-hmm. And right now, when it comes to Auburn, it's got to stop the run, bracket Cam Coleman, and Jackson Arnold's not good enough to throw you a win. And it really just doesn't seem like he has that dog in him.
He's not. You got a little more athletic Peyton.
Yeah,
that's my point, David. That's my point.
He's one of those guys that
can't be a bad play caller and a bad Italian evaluator.
Yeah, right.
You can say what you want about Gus Malzahn from a play calling standpoint, but look at the quarterbacks this guy brought in. Good God. I mean, at some point, Hugh Freeze, he's just, there's a mutt on the road who, his ankle's hurt. Let's bring him in and try and turn him into a Heisman winner. How dumb I'm trying not to be too critical, but you literally made the same mistake 3 years in a row.
That's what's confusing because I've seen him do it before. I mean, when he was at Ole Miss, at Liberty as well. So it's like I've seen him do it the right way before. So when you talk about handing over play calling responsibilities or at least handing over the offensive scheme completely, that's where it gets confusing to me because that was the appeal for Hugh Freeze to take this job.
Exactly.
Right? That was the appeal. If you're having to turn Hugh Freeze into a CEO coach, then you should have just gotten a CEO coach.
Yeah. No, it's exactly. I mean, he's lost his fastball. He's lost it. And again, I hate to say that because I like the guy, but I'm not paid to I'm not a propagandist that's just going to make up positive things about Hugh Freeze. I mean, this is a joke. It's laughable. I don't know, Blaine. I think DJ Durkin's going to be the next coach at Auburn. I'll go ahead and say it. I don't think Hugh has it in him. He's going to make all the excuses in the world, this, that, or the other, but it falls on him. And it's just, it's been awful again now for 3 years. And I was wrong. I was wrong about Hugh. I'll be the first one. I always say, when I'm right, I'm going to say I'm right. I vouched for him and I shouldn't have because he just doesn't have it in him.
Well, I will say this is a long season. All right, that could be
it is, Blaine, but like
for sure.
you watched it.
Yeah.
Like how many times can the same thing happen over and over again? And like the false starts, you bring in a quarterback that can't throw it. It's insane. That's like bringing in a telescope operator that's blind. Like how dumb do you got to be at Auburn with all this money, with all these guys that are out there? It's just. And again, I'm not trying to make it personal, but I mean, David, you saw on the field today again. Mm-hmm. It was almost the exact same script from the Oklahoma. This guy can't coach offense anymore. He just needs to go. I honestly think if he doesn't beat Georgia, he needs to be fired. He needs to be fired.
And that'll be the most Auburn thing ever. In Jordan Hare, beat Georgia. That'll happen.
But A&M undefeated 4-0, 1-0 in the SEC.
Yeah.
Moving forward wasn't great, but if you can not play well and win, that's huge. I don't think they were great today. I don't think A&M fans will tell you they were great today, but the defense stood up when they had to. Not hard when you're going against that offensively, but make sure you subscribe. We're gonna have a Bama Georgia reaction. That game's literally about to kick off, so make sure you check us out.